Howdy folks, today I'm going to talk about the Ruger Security-9 semi-automatic striker-fired handgun. It's a polymer frame gun that has, as a feature, safety on the frame, right? A manual safety on the frame. If we release our slide here so that it's closed, you can see the red dot tells you this is in the fire mode. Push your safety up. Well, if I get it up, there we go. Now it's in safe mode. All right. And that being the case, the slide will not operate. It will not come back. So you cannot cock the gun if it's in the safe mode. Also, another feature of this gun is that it does not have a magazine disconnect. To me, I like that feature myself anyway. So the gun will fire without the magazine in it. That's something you got to be aware of. On any semi-automatic handgun, will it fire if the magazine's not in it? And there are a lot of firearms that have a safety device inside that prevents that feature, but this is not like that. And for me, for a self-defense type firearm, it's better to not have that in it. That way, if you're in a situation where the magazine is loose or you drop the magazine, the gun, if it has a round in the chamber, it still will fire. All right, but anyway, we've got some really cool sights on here, a big horseshoe shaped notch in the back, and this is user adjustable. If you have your Allen wrench to fit the little bolt on the top of it, you can loosen that and push them over side to side for your windage adjustment. However, the front one is going to have to be moved with a press. It is pressed in, but it's a dovetail, so it can be moved if you need to be. And with that, also we have a Picatinny rail on the bottom. Gives you the option of using a light and/or laser device. So that's something to be considered too. Okay. And with taking this firearm apart to clean it, okay, we know obviously that it is empty. Okay, I want to pull back slightly on our slide, and we have a takedown pin right in the middle of the frame here. That takedown pin has a notch in it where you can pull it out and be able to disengage it. So pull that out, and I may have to use a little tool here. Let's try. I got a dummy around here. I'm gonna try it. Let's see if I can catch it. There we go. Popped out just a little edge of it. And as long as I put a little bit of pressure to take the tension off the spring, your takedown pin comes right out. Okay. And pay attention when how it comes out, because it really only fits back in one way. The larger gap on the top of the takedown pin here is going to be facing up when you put it back in. You have a very small notch on the bottom of it that fits into the retaining spring that holds it in the frame. Okay. And with that, you don't have to pull a trigger for this one. Once you take the pin out of it, got the magazine out, the slide comes right off. So that's another easy thing to think about as far as if you're looking to buy a gun that is easy to take apart without any extra manipulation. We're going to hold our frame under here with the palm of our hand. A little thumb pressure pushes our recoil spring out. And again, this is a captured spring, so it's not going to jump away from you and go flying across the room when you take it apart. Push our barrel up a little bit, wiggle it back, and there's your barrel. Okay. And as with any type of firearm, we're going to use a little bit of solvent in the barrel itself. Let it set for a few minutes to help dissolve the carbon and lead built up, copper built up, whatever's in it. And all that's going to depend on how many rounds you fired since it was cleaned last. And then you'll come back and follow that up with a clean dry patch and a little bit of light lubrication. Same thing with our slide. We've got our slide off now, and we can come in here with our tracks, make sure that we don't have any carbon and grit built up. Keep the grit out of your slide so you don't grind it up and make it wear out prematurely. Okay. And same thing with our frame. Here now we have the frame exposed, everything except the trigger components or the sear components inside the frame here. I really recommend that you don't do anything with that unless you're very familiar with the firearms, because there are a lot of very small parts inside here that can cause an issue with trying to reassemble it if you take too much of it apart. We get in that situation sometimes when folks they're a little bit energetic about taking a gun apart to clean it in detail, but then when they go to put it back together, we end up with a bag gun coming to the shop. So by that I mean they bring it into here in a bag with a bunch of parts and say, "Can you put it back together?" So I would like for you guys to avoid that situation. Okay. Anyway, we clean this up as usual. A little bit of light lubrication on your tracks, maybe a drop or two of oil on any hinge points or friction points that you see. And other than that, that's all you need to do. You can eventually can drop it into an ultrasonic tank if we need to clean it after it's been fired a whole lot, and there's some places you just can't get to. Otherwise, it's very minimal cleaning required for that part of it. All right, let's drop the barrel back in here. I'm gonna take my recoil spring here, and always with your recoil spring, the flat end is going to be fit into the notch on the back of your barrel lug here. So we're going to put the front of our spring into the little pocket on the front of the slide. A little bit of forward thumb pressure. You can lock it into position in the cutout on your barrel lug. And with this one, all we have to do is line our tracks back up, slide it back in place, a little bit of wiggle there, and now I can see the hole where my takedown pin goes. Push it slightly forward, or slightly back rather, a little bit of spring tension against it. But if I push it slightly back, that hole is perfectly lined up with my barrel and the lug of my barrel. Like that now. All we got to do is take our disassembly pin, takedown pin, whatever you want to call it, pull slightly back, drop the pin in the hole, snap it down. Good to go. All right. Now she's ready to get back into work. Isn't that cool? Anyway, that being said, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a couple of dummy rounds in here, and we'll do a trigger pull test also, give you an idea of what that feels like. I know some things I've recently run into is folks having a hard time loading their magazines, and what I've done with them is to, if you don't have a hand-assisted loader type device, one thing I found that helps a lot of people is to put your rounds crossways each other. Take your next round going in crossways on the front edge of the bullet, push down, and then with keeping pressure on it the whole time, you rotate the bullet and push it backwards. That seems to help a lot as far as getting the ammo in, especially after you get a lot of spring tension roughly halfway down the magazine. A lot of folks had to have a hard time with their strength in their hands being able to get the magazine loaded. So that helps sometimes. All right. Anyway, let's rock it. We've got a loaded dummy round in the gun now. So let's take and do a trigger pull test to make sure that our safety is in the off position. Ready to fire and see what we have here. I'll catch my safety tab on the bottom of the trigger. There's a good bit of pre-travel here for making the trigger move and contacting the sear. Trying to get it really snug and get a good solid indication on it. Dang it. Okay, here we go. All right, 4 3/4 pounds. Okay, so that being the case, let's go ahead and pop. Whoop. Okay, let it go. Pop that one out. We got another one, and I'm going to reset it, and let's give us a try again. See just how close we are. And again, 4 3/4. So that's not bad. That's good for a defensive firearm, I believe. At the same time, what does it feel like physically when I pull the trigger? I have a little bit of pre-travel there. Not so bad, I guess, but it's more than I expected, honestly. But in here, I keep tugging and tugging and tugging. It feels to me like it's more than the 4 3/4 pounds. Maybe it's just spring tension overcoming. It feels like I'm kind of climbing up the hill, and it finally drops off the other side. So I'm thinking that probably is a good situation as far as the gun being for a defensive type weapon. Okay, because you don't want to be too easy to start with. But it does feels like more than 4 3/4 pounds to me. But the gauge don't lie. Okay. Anyway, that's it. So let's give our reset here. And reset is a long ways. You literally got to let it all the way off for it to catch again. So that's good to know too. But that being the case, it is designed for a protective kind of firearm. It's not necessarily your best choice if you want to do some precision target shooting because of the trigger situation. But then again, it's not meant to be that way. It's still going to be a good solid performer, I believe, for self-defense firearm. So you have to mean to pull it and for it to be operational. But that's cool. Anyway, that's my take on this Ruger Security-9. And anyways, hopefully that helped you out a little bit. And if there's something I can do for you at Maverick Gun Works, give us a call. All right, thanks for watching, guys.